committee meeting to order. June 30th is our financial cutoff date for this meeting. Puts us 50% through the year. We've got several little things that we want to talk about today. The county general ended up 50% of the year at 48% of the budget. County road at 40, as we just talked. The county solid waste at 33%. A little misleading, but we understand why. County jails at 44. Overall, the elected officials are in very good shape. They're doing an excellent job of maintaining their budget. You know, I've never worked with a bad group of elected officials in all the years that I've been working on the quorum court. And this one is no exception. This is a good group of people that are trying to do their best with the taxpayers' money. In looking at the various offices, the county judge at 48, county clerk at 45, circuit clerk 47, county treasurer is at 45. I don't know what she does with all her money, but county collector at only 42. Everybody's trying to hold on to reasonableness, and knowing that in this time of COVID-19 that our revenues are expected to be down somewhat. Talking about that, Peggy, can you give us just we're kind of on track with expenditures, but what about revenues now?
Well, for June, they were down a little bit from what we projected in county general and county roads, which you know, was kind of what we expected. I'm sorry, that was for May. I don't think I gave it to you in May. In May, they were down. They were at 83% in county general and county roads. For June, they were actually back up in county general and county roads, you know, as to what we projected. So that was, you know, that was a good thing. The revenues are not near as bad as what, you know, the AAC had thought, you know, we were going to see. You know, more people are back on the roads and everything right now. Now that may change again with the way things are going, but right now things are just not as bad as what they had first thought. And our county has definitely done a lot better than a lot of other surrounding counties or counties across the state. You know, a lot of people had to lay people off and everything, and had to revise their budgets, and we have not had to do, you know, either one of those things. So we have a lot to be thankful for here.
We've read a lot about furloughs, cutbacks, wage cutbacks, a lot of different things that Mississippi County's not suffered. But sad that makes me want to dance. You know, Peggy, when you and I and Kelly spoke with Eddie Jones, they were expecting particularly the road department to be hit kind of hard, maybe up to 50%, and we haven't seen that happen.
No.
And we were also asking and quizzing Eddie about some of those counties that were having those pitfalls, the furloughs, the laid off people, the pullback of time sheets and stuff. And a lot of those counties, he said, were already in financial distress before COVID. And that's one thing that Mississippi County strove to not be in. And that's one thing that's really helped Mississippi County through this bad time, is we've been prepared. So.
Right. Our county general balance, I meant to give this to you before. Our county general balance is down a little bit today. It's at $530,000 today.
That's as low as it's been in a bit.
In a while, yeah.
So, of course, this is a low time for revenues regardless.
Right.
And maybe we'll see that uptick come back, and as we get closer to the end of the year again, maybe we'll recover some of that. Got two or three, well, in fact, I did put out an agenda, and I know down at the bottom I said possible additions because I always forget something. But Kelly's got us a list together. One of the first things, the Circuit Clerk's funds, and the Circuit Clerk called me a week or so ago. Have you talked to her about her file server, and
No, I haven't.
you hadn't talked to her about that?
I talked to her a couple of times last week, but not about that.
She's ordering a new file server. It's gonna be a little bit expensive. You know, she has 5 or 6 different funds going through the county budget. Number 37, the Circuit Clerk Recorder Act, 25%. The Circuit Clerk Commissioner's Fee, the Osceola Circuit Clerk Recorder, 25%. 37B, which is the Circuit Clerk Recorder Act. And she's got money in several of them. The biggest one being the number 37, has a fund balance, or not a fund balance, excuse me, budget balance left of $141,402. If you looked in your budget and went by the page numbers, it's on page 52. But she's gonna have to spend some money. She's kind of close. It's gonna be around $30,000 is what she's anticipating. I asked her to put a list together and get her needs together and then come back and I asked her if she would sit down with Peggy and I and kind of go over some of her fund balances. Fund 3405, the Circuit Clerk Recorder's Fund, ended up the month of June in red. As of today, the fund balance was $7,400, and that was back 2 weeks ago. Excuse me, a week ago. So Leslie told me that she never got your text. She said she was just in a bad spot, she figured, but you know, when you told her that it was gonna be in the red, and maybe her and I and you might get together and all visit about fund balances. Yeah, anyway. We probably do need to try to set up that meeting with her and go over these once she gets those file server needs. Her file server's about to go down, she feels like.
Her balance is only $2,600 in that account today.
It is. What about in number 37? That 25% recorder. Let me look at that.
The Blasel 25% is
Yeah.
$136,677.
Okay. I think we've got the money in the budget, we'll just have to juggle it around. I think she's gonna need a little help in moving some of her fund balances around. So we'll get with, I'll contact her and see if she's got those numbers together and then try to get with you, Peggy, and we'll set up an individual meeting. County Collector, I wish she was here to pat her on the back. Susan McCormick, did John note that she paid, what page is that? Page 47. You know, we've been constantly talking about, and it's 47 based on the page numbers. We've been talking about coordinating all the software between the various elected officials, offices in the county courthouse, and it was going to require a new server. That server cost $48,128.72. And on the basis of the need and the nature of the equipment, Susan McCormick, County Collector, felt comfortable in utilizing her collector automation fund in small equipment, and she paid for that. Actually, it's $47,753.93, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, $47,753.93. But she paid for the server for the entire courthouse. And I just want to commend her on being that easy to work with. We've had some that in the past that weren't always as easy to get along. Not counting you, Peggy. I mean, Betty.
I was giving her an eye when the crops are like, do it, do it.
Yeah, no, I knew you were. You were always just as good as anybody ever was.
Well, I didn't have to. I knew she was going to do it.
Well, the county collector did very well by the county by paying for that computer server.
She's very generous.
The sheriff's department received a JAG grant, a little over $58,000. Kelly, you want to touch that?
Peggy may know more than I do, but it's, I think, strictly to help with COVID-19 expenses, and that's what it's supposed to be used for. But we have reseeded it into the JAG grant, fund, which is I think 3512. And they are just, I think they received it in May, and they are just now starting to use it. So we just need to appropriate that money so they can buy some supplies. So far, they've bought some cleaning supplies and some chemicals.
So it's $58,007. And the line item you've been using is 3512.0400.2002. Do we want to go ahead and use, well, that in 2003, do we want to appropriate it for those two items?
That's the best scenario I can come up with, is just split it down the middle and put it in those two line items. That's the only thing that they've used so far. He didn't really know exactly what all he was gonna buy yet, but as long as, you know, if it is already in there, it's in the bank, and as long as we appropriate something for them to use.
Okay, so what we've done is federal funds, because of COVID, came in to the sheriff's department in the form of a JAG grant, $58,000, well, $58,007. They've spent a little bit of it out of two specific line items, and they're requesting that we appropriate the full $58,007 into those two line items. Any discussion, anybody? Make that in a motion?
I'll second it.
Justice Nelson has made the motion that we appropriate $58,007 of the sheriff's JAG grant monies into accounts 3512.0400.2002 and 2003. Motion was seconded by Justice Burge. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Cool. All right, that's one appropriation. Good golly, Miss Molly. Energy and property. I apologize not being able to make your energy and property committee meeting. I did read the activities. Looks like y'all got an appropriation recommendation for the committee.
She did a
Yes.
good job.
She did?
She did. She did a
Really?
good job.
That was an excellent job.
Very
Don't sound
informative.
so surprised. Yes, we did have we were hoping to appropriate $650,000 back into the courthouse fund this month. I think it's moving along. I think if I remember correctly, just off the top of my head, I didn't bring my notes. They are hoping to bring in some steel next month. Is that right?
Actually, I think the steel is supposed to be delivered around the 27th.
Okay.
We're looking to pour the slab. Looked like they were just about have it ready today, because I know we did the plumbing inspection last week. So it looks like they're doing their final grade right now, and we hopefully will pour that slab sometime this week. And then they'll want the slab to cure for roughly 7 days before
I think they were gonna shoot for 10 on the cure.
Well,
Yeah.
at minimum, they wanted 7, and I don't know what, I don't know if they use 3,500, 4,000 or more PSI concrete, but the higher the PSI, the longer they want it to set, because at 7 days, it's supposed to be cured to where it'll carry 3,500 pounds. So they talk like they might try to pour that this week, and then about the time that the steel came in, they would be ready to start erecting it.
It's gonna go faster now.
I think so. There.
We're gonna see more because everything's been inside and we couldn't see what was happening.
And underground. There's more underground than you think, I promise you that.
Well, and that was one of the reasons why I thought if it works out, we could meet at the courthouse next time, just because I think it's at a good place to actually walk through and see what's going on and before they start with the new building.
Any shining stars in the $650,000
Most of that, no, most of that is going to go to C&I. It's all, it was actually pretty much all in the scope. There was a couple of things that we talked about. The little balcony on the front. I mean, they're small items. that they are going to actually leave on the building and redo, but that was like a $7,000 add-on, not much. So, let's see, we did give the
Talk about the
go-ahead.
asbestos.
Yeah, that is not in this. I guess it will be.
Well,
So,
that's
yeah.
what they asked for, about 40,000 for that.
Yeah, so there's about 40,000 in the asbestos removal, and that will take all the asbestos out of the courthouse, which is a good thing. We did give it the go-ahead to go ahead and hire the designer for the large courtroom. And so, we're gonna send, I guess it's in thirds, for the design fee for that. And that was that decorative, not one painting, but just
Right.
decorative painting all over. Oh, and another piece of good news was, so even and the lighting, the period lighting has gone down another 10,000. So we're moving in the right direction. So we're really in a good spot.
Excellent, excellent. So you're recommending $650,000 be appropriated out of the Blytheville Courthouse Construction
Yes.
bond money and into the fund money.
Yes.
Would you care to make that a
That is,
motion?
yes, that's my motion.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to appropriate $650,000 back into the Blytheville Courthouse Construction Fund. Any discussion? Motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, along the same line, Molly, not letting you go yet. Revival Construction, or Architecture, charged us fees for both Blytheville and Osceola re-roofing. Are you familiar with this?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so apparently, all of it was paid for out of the Blytheville Construction Fund, but some of it needs to be moved over into the Osceola Construction Fund. About $73,500 worth of Osceola's bills that's paid out of the Blytheville Fund. Do you wanna wait and take that to your committee, or you wanna talk about that today?
Let's, if you, I
I'm in
would
no hurry.
prefer to wait, and let's talk about it in the committee and
That's
see.
perfect.
I think the budget's in good shape, and we can leave it for the moment.
Not a problem. Back to the landfill then. I'm gonna let you go now. And you are doing a great job. I'm tickled to death. We talked a little bit about the new equipment and all. You mentioned the new track loader at the landfill. It is gonna be $785.82 per month more than the old track loader. With the remaining number of months that we have in the rest of the year, that's an additional $4,714.92 that we're short. Want to appropriate it?
Yes,
Any reason not to?
not that I'm aware of.
You had a great meeting a minute ago. Anything you want to add to it?
No, sir.
Would you like to make a motion?
I will make a motion that we appropriate that.
$4,714.92 over to account ending in number 3073 to cover payments for the remainder of 2020 for the new track loader.
Second.
Motion
Is that
made and
John
seconded. Sorry?
Is that a John Deere? I want to know if he can drive it.
It's a cat.
Caterpillar.
I can't drive it.
No, bummer.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Bill, get that appropriation going. You know, I told you a while ago I had down at the bottom possible additions because I knew I'd forget something, and I did.
And I have one.
Oh, you've got one too? Well, let's go with yours first, and then we'll go with mine.
Oh, I hate to jump in front of you.
You don't need it.
Well, that's true. Apparently, Mr. Chipwood failed to bring to us the tax back resolution for White Gold in Wilson. And Cindy nor I could find record of it. So we need to put this on the agenda to get a tax back resolution for White Gold. And they've already got everybody's except us, except the county.
Cindy, are you gonna contact Cliff and get the information on that?
I have it.
I've got
Oh, you
it.
got it? Oh.
Tamika's already sent it to me.
Ball.
Shoot, it's good training.
This isn't an appropriation, but you want to make a
There is
motion
no
that we add this as a
appropriation.
resolution?
It's a resolution, there's no appropriation.
Okay.
It's
So
just a tax back.
you want to make a
That's-
move that we add this to the
Sure.
agenda? Care to second that?
I'll second it.
Got a motion to second, and a second made to add the resolution regarding certifying local government endorsement of business to participate in the tax back program in white gold. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Whoever's, you need Cindy or,
I've got one already.
Okay. Do you need one?
No, I'll just, when I send my stuff to Jeremy, I'll just let him know that Cindy has
she can
it.
have
Okay.
it.
All right. Okay, what I've got then, the judge came to me the other day. You know, COVID has gotten everything kind of in an uproar. So many ways, just all our own personal lives. I feel guilty not wearing a mask, but I'm afraid you couldn't understand me talking, sitting up here at the head. Besides that, that's what Justice Burns did.
Well, if you talk, you get to take your mask off.
You know, I taught school for 10 years, and I can't imagine what it would be like to be an administrator or a school teacher now under these circumstances. I can't imagine what it would be like to be a parent with school-age children. I mean, where do you go? Homeschooling, go to classrooms? I mean, it's all over the news. And I pray for my grandchildren every day about this. They're over in Valley View, but it's, I just don't know what. I don't know what I'd want. I don't know what to pray for. I don't know what to wish for. But it's put everybody in a turmoil. One of the things that's being considered is a lot of maybe outside the classroom instruction involving iPads, internet service, laptops, etc. Online classes, almost in the same nature of a lot of the college classes. Sally Bennett, are you Miss Bennett?
Yes, sir, I am.
You know what, I suspected you might have been. Hi, Miss Bennett. Miss Bennett is with us today. She's from Rivercrest School System, superintendent maybe?
Yes,
That's correct.
superintendent.
Okay. You want to tell us a little bit about this? You can probably address what you're asking, and I've got the numbers
Yeah,
here.
okay, great.
Uh,
Well, you all know we were set into a tailspin. Can I take this off? Is this okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Back in March, when we were all sent home. And during that time, it became very readily apparent the digital divide that our students are suffering and the lack of access that many of them have in our rural communities. And as a school district, you know, we tried to do everything that we could do. I bought Wi-Fi devices, we've put them on school buses, we've taken buses into communities, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. I've contacted legislators, I've met with Ritter, I've talked to Verizon. I have just about exhausted everything that I know that I can do to try to mitigate the challenges that my students are facing. In a meeting with Ritter, they did come up with a plan for student access, but you know, that's still $36.95 a month. I have students that's not possible for. And so I asked them about putting devices, access points at city halls, and that's where I contacted Judge Nelson to have this conversation with him. I called Representative Crawford's office, and he said, start with the county judge. And so that's why I'm here today. He's been very gracious to, Judge Nelson has, to be in on a couple of meetings that we've had. And I had gathered some quotes that you have that information for putting an access point at each city hall. And that would at least provide students who live in town the opportunity to walk up and access the internet so they could complete some of their assignments and do some of their work. Our direction from the governor has been, as a district, that we have to be able to pivot to off-site instruction. And so the state is actually providing an online curriculum for us to use at no charge. And so that helps, but it still doesn't address our internet access issue. I've met with Mississippi County Electric, and they have a project for broadband, but they say it's 2 years out. You know, in 2 years, I don't know where we're gonna be or what things are going to look like. At one point, Ritter had talked about a device that could be placed on a water tower and then send a long-range Signal, but in the most recent meeting with Ritter, they said that that was a third-party provider, and it was not something that they could do. And I haven't been able to find out any more information about that particular application. So, we're here today to ask if you all will give some consideration. This would be a great service to the constituents that are in the south end of the county. We have big disparity with access in our communities, and this isn't going to solve all our problems. It's not going to get anywhere near solving all our problems, but it's going to help. And I would greatly appreciate your consideration of that.
Excuse me, it wasn't, your boss over here at him, Mississippi County Electric,
Yes.
was he not working on that very problem and told us?
He,
the two of
he
us,
met with Ms. Bennett along with Ritter and others.
And he couldn't help her?
Well, not for at least about 2 years.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they're working on
We're
it.
building 600 miles of line, Mississippi County Electric is, but you have to start where you have internet connections, which we started north of Buckeye and west, and we're building. They're in the Gosnell area now, and then we moved to the Armorville area, and then the next phase would be in South Mississippi County, which is about 2 years away. That's not helping her right now. And I think Ritter, if I understand it right, Danny, they're proposing some sort of a hotspot on the city halls.
Yes, sir.
Is that what you're talking about?
That's right, it's an access point.
How many locations would be involved?
Well, I have quotes for each town to have one put in, and I'm also gonna go back and work with cities and see if housing authority areas, if we couldn't put something else there as well. Just trying to give our students another option. You know, where Rivercrest is located, we have plenty of access in the school, and Aruba donated devices for us to extend our wireless to our parking lots. But then you still have a transportation issue, because we're not where students can walk up to the school and access it. They can come and get to the parking lot, but they can't all even do that. So it's really a struggle, and I've been pretty passionate about this. I've been on television about it. I've talked to every legislator I can. I was invited to meet with the governor the week before last, and we talked about it again, but it's going to take time to build all of this out, and time is not something we really have at this juncture. So.
When you said you were looking at each town, don't you have 5 towns?
Yes, sir. I was looking at Wilson, Kaiser, Dice, Joyner, and Luxora.
So what you've got is an initial installation fee
Right,
and then an ongoing monthly fee
that's correct.
per location.
Right.
Are the cities in a position where they could help with the monthly fees, or?
I really haven't talked with them. I spoke with Judge Nelson, and he felt like that was something that you all could assist with at this level. And so I kind of just let that go, hoping that that would be the case.
He talked like, Judge Nelson talked like he had solved this a month ago.
That he had solved it?
That was my understanding. He was on radio or one of his meetings or something in the newspaper. Steve may know more about it than I do, but he had made some announcement that of what he had done.
I know he's been involved in meetings. He's had meetings. I wasn't in the meeting, but I had reports from the meeting. But I know he's been in meetings, but as far as it being resolved, I don't know that it's not resolved as far as I know.
Yeah.
Ask Ms. Bennett a question, please.
Sure.
Ms. Bennett, every kid I see nowadays, that goes under Lyle, and I don't see all of them, has a cell phone. Is that pretty much the case with your school, or are we talking children that don't have it?
I think there's a large number that don't. A large number do, but it's going to take more than a cell phone to do the work. The governor's direction.
I understand that. What I'm trying to do is trying to figure out, because I know with my cell phone, I can make it a hotspot.
Right.
And we put 3 grandkids on it when we're traveling to keep them quiet.
I understand.
Uh, Yeah, and that's what I'm asking. do most of your families have a hotspot, an iPad, something that they can make into a hotspot? That if we could help boost the area, that would help with that?
I think it would help for sure. Data becomes an issue, and with how large their data packages are. The other piece
Well,
of that is.
most of them truly are unlimited, but the problem is when they say unlimited, you get so much high-speed data, and
That's
then it
right.
slows down so much you can't use it.
That's right, and that's where the problem is with this online curriculum that the state's providing. It's complete curriculum, it's new instruction, it's them doing their homework online, submitting it for the teachers to grade, it's all done without them
My
being
wife
present.
teaches at college.
Okay,
I'm
so,
very familiar
so
with
it's
it.
gonna be exactly the same kind, and then children that are, multiple children in one family, then that slows it down. I know my son has 3 little ones at home, and we live down a gravel road, and our access is pretty spotty too. So I know from a personal point of view, I live out from Jordan, that it's just not strong. It's gonna be
Do your
problematic.
students, are they issued a Chromebook or something? through the
Yes,
school?
sir. We
So
have
they
used-
have access to something?
They will have a device.
Okay.
We have used our CARES money to purchase those. Every student from kindergarten up will have a Chromebook. The little ones will have a Chromebook tablet.
So they will have an access way to get, that was my concern, how
Oh,
are they
yes.
gonna access?
They'll
But
have a device.
Then
It's
the
just-
other side is, does somebody have a package that they can get on? Because I realize, does Ritter even service Joiner right now?
And so
So they'll
they,
have to run lines to Joiner to put in an access point.
I don't know what they'll have to do, but they did say they could do it, so.
I think they're gonna do a line of sight.
It won't be any good.
Okay.
That was my understanding.
Yeah.
How far from the city hall,
600 feet.
600 feet? So a student would have to get within 600 feet.
That's my understanding.
So I'm just trying to understand the
Right,
problem.
sure.
So your students are scattered all over South Mississippi County.
371 square miles.
So you still have a problem.
Yes.
I mean, they're gonna have to make an effort to get within
Yes.
that. That's the only solution available so far.
So far,
I understand the 600 feet, that's Ritter's.
yes.
Have you looked at putting a Wi-Fi booster into that? Would boost it roughly to 5,000 square feet.
No, but if you can tell me more about that, I'd sure be interested.
I got one on my house, is all I can tell you. I'm not sure how it works, but I can get on it out in my front yard where I could not with just the
Internet service, I don't think.
I think that's gonna
Unless you subscribe through
Modem.
line
It
of
was a
sight.
plug, it was a plug and play. I plugged it in.
Well, that'd be awesome. I'm not familiar with that
But I
device.
would talk to someone like, NET who does that stuff, because that actually does wiring points that could extend it further. And it might be something,
NET won't be able to do it, because I checked with them about our office at Burdette, because I need internet access for tablets out there, and they said they couldn't help me. But Verizon had a guy that they recommended. Have you talked to
I've
them?
talked to Verizon. They have
Verizon has a guy that they
device.
recommended to get something like what you're talking
the
about.
reason I said that NET had one that plugged in to another person's, and it's a point of access, it extends it to another area. But I don't know how
We
that.
can help.
So you're confident once they get it there that it's gonna work and?
Well, as confident as anybody can be. And I've been shaking trees and trying to come up with solutions.
Well, and that 600 feet is going to depend on what kind of building they're in. If they're in a metal building, you may not get it outside. Because I have a metal building next door. The only way that I can get mine over there is with a Wi-Fi booster and a booster sitting in the window over in that building.
Well, I have to trust at some point that they've said that this would work, so.
Ms. Bennett, have the cities agreed, or have you discussed with them that this would be, if this were to take place, it would be dedicated strictly to the school district? In other words, the city hall wouldn't be taking up all the time and everything with it?
Now, I trust that Judge Nelson has had those conversations.
Ms. Bennett, you're one of 6 districts in our county. What are the other districts doing?
I don't know that they have the problem that I have because we're a consolidated school district and cover so many areas. Everybody else seems to have much better coverage. We meet virtually, the superintendents and I, about once a week. And it's more my problem than it is anybody else's.
I know Manila, I'm from Manila. Manila goes all the way down to West Ridge. I just wondered what they
But
were.
it's not just a Mississippi County problem. There's spots all over the state. I meet with other superintendents and all across the United States. We're all struggling right now because of our current situation. We're looking at a August 24th start date for school.
But the problem overall, all over the country, all over the state, Arkansas has a lot of it, a lot of states have it. The problem is, in real rural areas, the investor-owned, such as Ritter and AT&T, they're there to make profit. If they can't have a certain density on a mile of line, they're not gonna put the service there. That's the problem in the south end of the county. Now, Manila and Blytheville and Armorell and Osceola and Manila, everyone, Ritter serves most of those areas already, and AT&T serves some of them. But the real extreme rural areas, like her district, the investor owns won't go there.
Well,
They just can't, it's not profitable.
If you get up north of Yarborough, there's no service out there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's the case north of Hickman. Ritter will run if they've got enough that they can justify paying for that line. I think they told me in 5 years. But you've got the same situation spotty all over. It's gonna be north of Blytheville, north of Hickman out there, probably some out north of Manila and Leachville are gonna have the same issue. They're different school districts, but they may already have it set up. They're talking about a smaller demographic area. They may have it set up where their kids can go to schools or something along that line. We don't know about those.
The federal government gave y'all some COVID emergency services money. I mean, those numbers are available on the State Department website. Blytheville got $1.78 million, you know?
We got $354,000 and we've used most of it for the computers that we're gonna be handing out, as well as our PPE that we had to purchase.
Good answer.
What is
I'm
it?
here to advocate for my district,
I know.
I'm really trying to.
You wouldn't be doing your job if you
I
didn't.
know.
Okay, guys, so let's get down to the pennies, what she's asking us. She's got 5 city halls, and the setup fee on each city hall, the one-time setup fee is $725 to come in and per city hall. $725 times 5 is what, $3,625?
37.
Yeah, about $3,700. But then there is a monthly recurring fee of right at $150 per location per month. So it'd be like paying a cable bill, $150 cable bill in 5 different city halls, basically. How long, Miss Bennett, I know you're not asking in infinity.
Oh, no, sir. Once we get past all of this and we can be back in school regularly, and then it might be something we want to revisit even in 3 months, 6-month intervals to see what the need is and how it's being utilized. If it's not being taken advantage of, it would be a service that could be discontinued.
So the setup fee, the initial setup fee for the 5 would be $3,625. Then the per month fee is another $750 per month for however many months. Now this is just Rivercrest, you've got to keep in mind, is anybody else going to come and ask?
Does that include the taxes and everything else? Because
They don't have taxes showing on this. They're showing the high-speed internet service up to 100 megabytes per second. at $139.99, and the wireless modem at $9.99. That's the monthly charge. The $724.64, I'd round it to $725. I see no taxes on that either.
And that, the reason I asked that is because I use Ritter, and they told me what my bill was, but you gotta add taxes and service fees and stuff like that. So we need a better idea of exactly what we're looking at.
And what, 100 up, 100 down? How many kids, how many people will be able to, I
Well,
mean,
that
a year?
would, my next question would be, is there any limitation on the data as far as for each location?
I would have to go back and look, and
Because, you get several children on there.
Mhm.
yeah, my understanding was not, but that's certainly something I could ask. And I think at different times of day, different kids will be doing different things. We've been trying to stay in contact with our students, and our high school students have adapted. They play games all night and sleep all day kind of thing. So they would have different hours of operation for getting their homework done.
And if they have the ability to get on a game system, they've got the ability to get into class. That's
Well-
a totally different thing.
Yeah, we got.
Well, I was just thinking, because
Sounded-
they have one access.
If this is solvable by
Maybe
this,
probably can't
what
get that.
Justice
It's on
White just
the
said,
stream.
$4,000 to purchase
I mean,
it,
I mean, I would do it.
$100 a month to sustain it. Why did you not use the government money to do that?
Well, we had to get them devices first of all.
How to do what?
We had to buy them the computers, the devices first of
So
all.
you got the horse but no buggy.
Yes, sir. That's a good analogy.
So instead of buying the internet, getting that in before you bought the computers, you bought the computers and now you can't use it.
Well, some will be able to. And our plan is that they're gonna have the devices, every child will have one. Hopefully, we're gonna be able to be in school, and so they'll have them to become accustomed to using them for this online type of instruction. And should the need arise that we have to pivot to off-site instruction, it'll be a seamless operation. Right now, the governor's saying we're gonna be in school for face-to-face instruction come August 24th, unless he changed that at 1:30 when he spoke today. And so we wanted to make sure we have the devices that are going to be usable across all grade levels for every student in our district, regardless of where that instruction is occurring.
This doesn't seem like a lot of money out of the school budget to me.
It's not a great deal, but every little bit helps, and
So
I'm trying
why are
to,
you not paying it yourself?
we're trying to use those funds that we have to do the things that, like I've just described, to buy the devices, to pay for those other PPEs and those types of things.
So let me interject a question.
Yes, sir.
How much did each Chromebook cost you? Approximately.
By the time you put the case and everything on, about $400,
And how many students do you have?
1,109.
So she spent a little over 400,000, just quick math, buying just the vehicle, so to speak. Yes, she bought the vehicle without laying the track for the training, but
Like I said, some will have access.
yes, some will, and you'll be surprised at the number that do, but it's the ones that are the most vulnerable that won't.
That's right.
What was the total cost, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, so if we, like I said, we're not looking at infinity, and we can only budget right now, this second, out to the end of the year. And we can make promises or commitments probably, but, so the 5 setup locations at $725 each, and then we'll talk about tax, but $36.25, $33,625. The monthly fees would be $750 per month combined for the 5 locations for 5 months, would be another $3,750 to get us through the end of the year. That total, setting them up and paying for them through December, starting in August and through December, $7,375. If we figured 11% tax, that's $811 and a quarter. So if we added a possible tax onto that, $8,186.25. Does that sound in the ballpark that
Yes,
you
it
were
does.
thinking, Miss Bennett?
And I'm trying to read the small print, and I think it says, quote, does not include local, state, federal taxes or 911 fees.
There you go. Mindy, you've asked her a lot of questions.
Well, this is a very, and I realize, you know, there's other school districts in Mississippi County and everything, and I understand all this. We're in a crisis, I mean, because of the virus and so forth going on. Ms. Bennett is in a very unique situation. And based on all that, I would like to, I'll make a motion that we do this for a 12-month period. Well, we can only do it until the end of the year.
With the, if you want to add the thought that we would try to add the next 6 months into the next budget.
But only commit through.
On, commit for a year and then sit down and take a look. She'll know by that time how it's working as far as her school year. If it's being utilized, I'm a little concerned, honestly, about kids going to within
600 feet.
600 feet, how much it's going to be
Going to have to be in the
utilized.
parking lot of the, basically of the city hall.
But she's in a desperate situation down there, and if we can do anything that will help any, we've got a lot of kids down there. I don't know, enrollment probably 1,200 or so,
1109.
1,109, pretty much the south end of the county. I make a motion that we fund this for 12 months and reevaluate at that time.
Second.
A motion and a second that we fund this, and you're talking setup and monthly fees, correct?
Correct.
Which would, at the end of the year, just for this month's, this year's budget would be a total of around $8,200.
Right, and then you'll have 5 or 6 months into next year's.
All right, and before we vote and all, then we need to talk about line item, if this were to pass, and if we try to do this. Kelly, you got a thought on line item? I do, I just wondered if you did, because yours may be better than mine.
I just think probably other county, and we have an internet line in other
What are
county.
you gonna do when someone else comes and asks for the same thing?
They're gonna have to make their case like Ms. Bennett did. I mean, I know we're running a risk on this because, but like I said, to my knowledge, and I'm not an expert on this, to my knowledge, all of the other 5 districts in Mississippi County have access to internet service. Am I correct in that?
Yes, sir.
Let me interject one question to her real quick. Have the cities agreed to allow you to use their electricity? And the reason I'm asking, I'm a building inspector and I've already been into it. I got caught in the middle between a city and their water company.
I have not personally talked with the mayors. My understanding was that Judge Nelson was going to take care of that part. But I'm
So
happy
you
to
might
follow
want
up
to make
with that.
sure of that before this gets too far along,
Sure.
because we actually had a city look at it and tell them they had to unplug something, and they had to put a new meter base to cover it themselves.
Ms. Smalley?
I was just thinking maybe we should, I mean, I hate to wait, but maybe we should wait until some of these other questions. Because you asked the question about would the city hall be able to access this wire, this access point. That's a very valid point, because I really believe too that there's not gonna be able to be that many people on it at one time.
I don't think we can wait a month.
I don't either, but I don't, but.
They're gonna be in school the 24th.
so,
Could you ask her to please ask those questions and have an answer for us at the regular meeting?
We could do that. We meet, our next regular monthly meeting is next Tuesday night. It'll be at the Osceola Courthouse.
Okay.
Would you mind working with the judge maybe and seeing if you, I didn't think you would, and maybe having a couple of these answers for
Yes,
them?
sir.
And we can go ahead and push the motion through, and then we can vote based on the answers that you bring to the committee then. Kelly, one of the things that I was thinking about, we tried to close it out, and we did close it out for many years, a line item that we called county grants and aid. And that's when we would help a fire department or we'd help a civic group or something, we'd use that line item, but, you know, when we got in such terrible bad shape, we absolutely closed out county grants and aid, so I don't know that we wanna
I'll look for it and see.
reopen that again,
Yeah.
or if you can find another line item.
I mean, the only one that I thought of would be other county, and then there's an internet, a specific line for internet in other county. But, I mean, that's up to y'all.
Okay, I'll let you look, how's that?
Okay, I'll look.
Any other discussion, Justice Nelson?
Yes, you knew I was gonna say something.
Yes, sir. I would have expected it.
The only concern I have, and I would give the money to you without any problems, is that the government gave you money and you didn't use it properly when you needed it for this. And now you're asking us to do something that you could have done with government money.
Well, I did
That
use my money
is
properly.
offensive to me, that you wasted the money. And now you're here asking us to do something that you should have done with the money that you got as a grant. And that's somewhat offensive.
Well, I hate that you feel that that's offensive, because I feel like I have used my money properly, and I'm just trying to serve the greater good. And if you all can help me, that is fantastic, and we will be appreciative. If you can't, we'll do something different.
Anybody else?
Well, to me, I don't think it's offensive. She did use the money.
Just wasn't enough and didn't go far enough.
Thank you.
Got a motion and a second, and this will be, it will be presented at next Tuesday night's meeting based on the information that Ms. Bennett may give
She's
us.
checking about the electricity.
You understood that,
And what was the other question?
the city hall usage.
City
Right.
hall usage, and then,
The cost of the
Well,
install, and how many
no,
you use.
the thing that concerned me, I got the same concern they did, and they put it much more eloquently than I did. Are you gonna have some type of code that you give your children that this will only allow them to access it, or are they, is City Hall to be able to access it
It's
also?
gonna be an open
Because
line.
Yeah,
obviously,
a hotspot, anyone can get in it unless it's posted.
I found out the answers to those questions. What time Tuesday? 7.
obviously, if they don't have internet access there already, this could be an advantage to them, so then my questions become, why don't they pay for it?
Yeah,
If they
that's
get to
right.
use it.
You sure
Even if we
have-
did the
You sure
install
have
thing.
talked a lot, not filmed this to me.
Yes, I have. I'm here to voice my opinion.
Very eloquent.
So, I mean, City Hall doesn't have internet access.
Well, wake up Alvin back there.
Not into the farm, she's got.
Yeah,
So
he-
they don't have access, they don't have internet right now? I mean,
Yeah, they do.
They do, yeah, but not internet, I guess, that we could tap into, is that what you're?
They may be using, they may be having
How
to
much
use satellite
Personal
internet.
information are they gonna have on there?
Yeah, we can
Well,
tap
see,
into
if
theirs.
it's city, we ran into the problem with voting using the tablets. If the city is wide open, then anybody could go into there and get access to their information. So that's why we don't use City Hall internet. We use MiFi's and has a special code, and nobody can get in it without the code.
Well, that's what she needs with this. She needs an arrangement with Ritter,
Mhm.
when they make this hotspot, that only her students can access it.
Or if they could use what was already existing with a different code.
They're not gonna let them tap in like that. I don't think. They
I mean, they
might.
might, I mean, I was just, I mean, if
They
it's
might.
already there.
The-
So we have two different ones, like, well, ours is separate. Never mind, sorry. No, we have two different, you're right, we have one for the guest and then one that we run our computer, yeah, you're right.
This is something that, have you passed out your Chromebooks yet?
And we both
So
checked.
actually,
Well-
if you get a code, you can put it
But we're all
inside
internet
that cover,
experts.
and then they can access it at any time, but they're not to give it out to other people.
Yeah. I
Well,
hope
once
that's
you,
not-
Well, I mean,
once
that's-
they access the code, they don't have to put it in again.
Well, that's
The
true.
computer says it.
Guys, I think
Yeah,
I think we brought up some valid points and given her some more thought, food for thought.
Absolutely.
You know, whether it went through or not, it's more good food for thought, I feel like. But we'll take a vote on moving this to the full court for consideration next Tuesday night at next month's regular committee meeting, or regular monthly meeting. We have a motion and a second of appropriating in this year's budget approximately $8,200 for the Rivercrest School System's internet access. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay, so the motion will carry, and we'll present this at the full court meeting. Peggy, you got anything else?
I don't.
Tell it.
No, sir?
Really? That's because you do so good when you send my notes.
Well, that's just because luckily nothing else came up in between that time.
Guys, any court member? Steve, you got anything for us? Guys, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Cindy,
Well, you can kind of sign the book if you want that.
it's not even on.
No, it's not here.
Actually,